Sick.
An 80s montage.
Well, I'm sorry I brought it up.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm sure it's a soft spot for you right now. You're
No,
so sad.
no, it's fine.
You're
It's all
so
good.
bummed right now. No,
I
you
got
are.
to do a bunch of exploratory videos that I can't show.
No.
Oh, we can't.
Nope.
Maybe someday we can show that one that
I can't
today.
wait.
Once we get to the point where things are
When it's the Gene show?
yes, then we can make it the Gene show.
Yes. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
So you're working on some things that are looking real nice right now.
Yep.
I love how you're just like, yeah, I know they look really good.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I'm the best.
So this is basically working on terrain as a resource modules. This is the sediment processor.
Mm-hmm.
So now that system is moving out of the prototyping stage and working on integrating it into the game, means I can come in and start working on arting up the modules, coming up with new designs and things like that. So this has gone through a couple of revisions, and right now I'm just taking it from the rough concept stage that I worked on earlier and fleshing it out a little bit more. And I think this is still just the next step in that process, not to say that these aren't going to evolve again. So it's all just iteration and just taking it through the motions, and this just happens to be the next step of it. So
Yeah, so speaking of iterations, you said you had some versions that you worked on earlier this week.
Yep.
Do you have this set up, or do you want to show me these first? Ooh, okay.
So yeah, these are just a couple of the quick brainstorms that I spent like maybe an hour just throwing parts together to see what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Figuring out what shapes work, and this is where it started. This is what was in the game currently. So like the big tank, and then moving over to just the idea of like if we have individual components so that the resources that come out of it at the end of it are attached to their own little tanks,
Mhm.
so you kind of know exactly how many you're going to get when the machine kicks off. And so like following this idea of doing a crazy like gyroscope thing, which kind of evolved to this point where I could have all these different parts moving at once and have the tanks flipping around and stuff, to kind of go into more of like a centrifuge type of system.
Right.
And then eventually we ended up here, which is kind of a mixture of both. And so then after that, I kind of did some quick like motion studies to see if I liked the way that it was interacting and if it would provide some cool visual interest as it moved around. Fun little test. And now that I like the motion and I know that the pieces generally fit together the way I want them to, and that it fits within the bounds of what a module needs to be so it doesn't interact with everything else next to it.
Oh, got it, right, yeah.
Now I'm taking it to the next step and just kind of fleshing it out, so like adding a little bit more detail around the nozzle, making sure things have some cool interaction points like little spring compression and stuff like that.
Yeah. Awesome. And then, okay, so once you're done arting this up, there's a couple more modules that you'll probably be working on, right?
Yeah. So I'll be moving on to a couple more to flesh out the whole system. And yeah, just all kinds of fun enhancements all around, more than just modules too. So like looking at all the components of the terrain as a resource system.
What happens next?
So after this, it goes over to Gene, who puts his spin on it, literally.
No.
I ruined it.
No. You had to make that friggin' joke.
Oh.
You had to do that. This looks great. Thanks for talking with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. I'll let you get back to it.
Cool, will do.
Okay, so I wanted to take a second and talk after the segment with Spencer. I was watching it and I was like, there's something very important that we didn't mention that I want to put out there before this vlog goes out. We're working on getting terrain as a resource in the game. That should be clear at this point. We did a stream yesterday showing Riley making awesome sounds for it. I'll put a link in the description. You just saw Spencer making art for the game, but there's a whole other part of that we haven't talked about, which is making tweaks to the actual experience itself. And we used, if you don't know about terrain as a resource, we put out an experimental build of the game on Steam about a month ago, maybe more actually now. And the point was to gather feedback and see what people thought about this thing. and then to use that feedback that you guys gave us, which was from an official survey that we put out that got like a couple hundred responses, and posts on Reddit and the forums and YouTube comments and everywhere else. We're taking that information and we're implementing that feedback into the game. Obviously not all of it, but we proved out that terrain as resource is a fun thing and a fun new thing for Astroneer, and now we're tweaking values and we're making decisions about how it's going to actually work and how it fits into the larger scope of the game. So one thing I'll point out is people made note that they didn't like how much people like flattening their bases and making their bases really flat, and unfortunately that took a lot of sediment and a lot of power. That is being tweaked. That's something that we heard the community on that and we said, that's a concern. Now we're going to work on that. So there's stuff like that we're taking the feedback from you guys and we're implementing it into the game. So it's not just art and sounds, it's also actual gameplay stuff.
Aaron and Elijah are talking about this right now, so hold on. Hopefully I'm not giving anything away, but they're talking about turning as a resource right now, and making some tweaks to it so that way it is a better overall system for everyone.
Last thing I want to say is thank you to everyone who provided feedback, who played experimental. It was a really cool experiment for us, and we're excited to now make the tweaks that we're hearing from the community, put those into the game so that way terrain as resource is fun for everyone, and that'll be really great. I'm excited. So, thanks.
Hey.
Hey,
Hi, Carl. Oh, you were on the vlog last week, but you didn't have a speaking role last week.
I was visible?
You were visible
You didn't tell me.
quickly. If you don't know who Carl is the newest member of the team, and you're right now tackling dedicated server stuff.
Right.
Yes, which is sort of your specialty, which people were very excited about.
Good. Great. I'm glad. I'm excited too.
What's going on here?
Well, I was just doing this today. I've got a server running which you can't see, and then 8 clients running, talking to the server. It's all running on the same machine, but trust me, that's not significant, except that it slows everybody down because
Right.
I've only got one CPU. But as far as the networking goes, it's all legitimately networked.
Right.
It's just,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, this doesn't look any different than what you can do with the running multiplayer,
Right.
Which is fine. The only real thing is there's a 9th process running that's the dedicated server. He doesn't have graphics. He doesn't have sound. He just coordinates everything.
Got it.
So, for instance, actually, the only thing that this can do that you wouldn't see, and I'm not going to do it for this, but
Gotta keep
is I
some
can shut all
secrets.
these guys down
Right.
and make them all go away, and then bring them back up, and it'll still be in the same game.
Right.
So that's what you would notice, and that's really the point of the dedicated server, so that you can have a machine that's running not as a GUI client who's doing stuff, and everybody can attach to it, and then they all go home and come back the next day and it's still there.
So most people right now are thinking to themselves, okay, so dedicated servers are done, and now I can just run a dedicated server, and that is not the case.
Not yet. Sorry. It'll be a while before we actually roll this out.
So can you talk then just quickly about some of those hurdles, some of the big things that have to get tackled?
The main thing that to get tackled is to take what we've got and remove the stuff that doesn't belong. It doesn't have a display and it doesn't have sound, but we still got the code for sound in it, and that's going to hobble it somewhat because there's a lot of code there.
Right.
And so we want to take that away. There's some other just sort of cruft. That's what I've been working on last couple days, is cleaning that stuff out.
Awesome.
And we'll be done with that. And then also when we do roll this out, we'll have a Linux dedicated server.
Right. So that's the major confirmation for people, is that people want the game to be on Linux. It looks like we sort of have to put it on Linux because the server is going to be running on Linux machine, Linux based.
It could actually run on Windows as well, but I think we want that flexibility.
Yes. It's also good to know that you are a proponent of Linux. You're a yeah.
I'm a Linux guy. I'm not really a Windows guy, but you know, I can do it. No, I'm a Linux guy.
Yes.
So-
I have a feeling that there are several people out there that are going to watch this and go, "Oh, nice, he's one of us. This is great."
Well, good. I'm glad. I'm happy for those people. I've got nothing against Windows. It's a fine operating system.
Thanks so much for spending some time to
You
talk to me.
bet. Anytime.
And I
Come
will
back.
I will leave you alone now.
Great.
Okay,
Cool.
cool. Bye.